They have to be in sync, all right?
like playing man, zone, regardless, you got to learn how to do all of it, so.
We got wins. Go win right after that. Whoa.
Get in there. That's it!
Commanders family, the best Commanders show in the world is back, and we got another special one for you today. We're doing a mini camp recap. We've all hit the field, so the crew's gonna break down what they've seen so far. Then Fred and I take the practice field to talk all things defensive backs. And B. Mitch joins the Command Center crew, but this time out on the golf course. I promise you won't want to miss it, Commanders family. All that starts right now. Commanders family, welcome into Command Center. I'm Brian Cole Jr. here with Mr. 8 to the 9, Santana Moss, the mouth of the South, Fred Smoot, and the prospect professor, Logan Paulson. Fellas, minicamp is underway, and I think the best part about this show is that you guys all have done this before. Yeah. So let's do some reflecting right now. Tanner, what were you, because you're one of the most prepared guys I've ever met, what were you trying to get out of minicamp?
I mean, minicamp was like a snippet of what I should be expecting come training camp. It was like the first time or the second time, because normally you have one or two mini camps before you get that break before training camp. But I've always took it as, okay, this is my preparation time to say, this is how training camp should look. And so I knew that it was gonna be live bullets. We weren't gonna have pass on, but we're gonna be flying around, going against each other, and the coaches wanted to see us how we basically compete against one another.
And Fred, you're the only one of us that was actually here as a rookie, going to his first mini camp, like a lot of our guys, like our 2025 class.
Yeah.
What was that like for you, and how were you trying to make your impact felt?
I think when you're coming in as a rookie, first of all, you kind of starstruck. Their first mini camp. I'm walking in, I see Darryl Green, I see Champ Bailey, I see Deion Sanders, so you in awe. But actually when you get out there and you start to run around, you want to show them that I belong with y'all.
Yeah.
That's your whole thing. I want to show you that technique, I'm sound at it. Yeah. I want to mimic some of y'all. So your eyes are real big and you're watching everything around you, but you also, I want to show my teammates, they didn't waste this draft pick. They came in, we got a player, but I have to prove it to them. And minicamp allows me to say, initially, this is who I am. Yeah. Now, I'm not in full pass right now, but I'm going to show you I can run with you. I'm going to show you I understand defenses, and I'm going to show you I'm going to work hard. So that's what minicamp was about with me.
And Logan, Fred being so locked in, he was a second-round pick. You, on the other hand, were undrafted free agents. You've also been to different teams and been to different minicamps. I know your mindset was different in this because it's a proven mindset at this point, right?
Yeah, so for me, it was like all gas, no brakes, and I'm not kidding. Like 100%, it was, you talk about being live, like it was live contact for me. Like I remember when I was my second or third year, Sean McVay came in the locker room and he was like, why do you have so many bruises on you? And it was like face mask bruises, and I was like, we're doing this thing out here. Because for me, it was about making the team. And so I know I pissed people off, but I was like, for me, it was like, I got to make the squad. And so any kind of opportunity that for me was like always better wove than go. You know what I'm saying? Like I would rather someone say, hey, Logan, chill out, as opposed to like go harder. So I was always full gas and piss people off, but I was trying to make the squad get paid, and that's how I did it.
Of course, all of you guys were locked in like a true commander. We know that's the expectation Dan Quinn has set. Matter of fact, let's hear from our fearless leader right now.
This is it's really coach's time in some ways, and I'll explain that as the systems. On all three phases, can the players have a deeper understanding of that? And I thought Cliff and Joe and Larry, like they have really put it in that space. And the other group is the year two players, assisting the first year players into it, whether it's a first year as a free agent joining the team or a first year as a rookie. And that's such an important thing. So that's really where I feel like in the off season, this is the coach's time. They've got to get these systems in place so the guys can really do their thing. And if we can isolate the skill, then there's these next 40 days that'll be coming up for the players to really work those.
It is all about time and preparation for DQ and company as they get ready for this season. And DQ's second year at the helm. A lot to take away from minicamp. So fellas, let's dive into what we saw over the last few weeks of off-season training moves. It's time for your can't miss moment presented by FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official partner of the Washington Commanders. Now, Fred, we're looking at the offensive line right now, but however, I have been looking all over the field because I was trying to find number 2.
Yeah.
Lattimore. Everybody
He
very,
looked
very
good in
excited
that.
to see him.
He looked good.
You like
he
the
looks.
two? You like
I
the
like
he
the two
looks
on it.
good
I like
in
the
that
two
too.
on it.
Now he is all the way across from where they are playing right now. However, I had to bring him up, but I wanted to make sure I saw him first before bringing it up. Man, so good to see him out here healthy.
Yeah, most definitely, man. That's what you want. You want a guy, this guy probably ain't had this point in a year in the last 3 years because he's always had an injury or something going on. And people don't know how much that can shorten your season and stall your maturation to getting better. So him getting out here, being in Joe Witt's defense another year, starting in camp now, I'm sure now, Logan, he feels more like one of the guys than he could ever do coming in the middle of the season.
And just talk about, we talked about how we've been on teams where guys will just go chill on the sideline. Guys that miss, I don't need it. This is whatever. Yeah. He's with the coach right now.
Yeah.
He's doing drills during special teams period. He's getting better. They're doing like this late hand ball drill. You know what I'm saying? And one of the things I love about the entire DB group, right, is that they all have this ability to track the football late in the down, right? And so to see him getting that working, to see him kind of getting involved, like everyone's like, oh, he wasn't here for OTAs. Like, how happy is he? But I see this work when he's here.
Yes.
And I think that kind of covers not covers it up because you can't replace some of that stuff, but it shows that he's like buying in more.
Yes.
He's changing the type of player he is, and I think that's extremely important. So I love when I see the veterans on the side during special teams period getting a little bit better.
Yeah,
it gets me juiced up.
That just goes to the Coach Quinn culture. No wasted time, no wasted men. Let's get out here. Let's go make some plays, and that's what I think Lattimore is bought in. I think he's bought into it.
And it's funny because I see Mike Sanderson over there, and he's a young guy, but is he setting that tempo? Like, hey, man, I'm going to work in the break.
Yeah.
And then does Lattimore see him and say, oh, shoot, I can get some work in.
Why not?
It speaks to the quality of guy you have throughout the roster. And and I think that's one thing about Dan when I played with him is there's no leadership class.
Yeah.
Everybody's a leader. Right?
Everybody,
come on with me.
That's what the commander is.
Yeah.
They all come from that same cloth. They all have that similar personality. And we talked about Mikey Sanderson a little bit, and he made a few headlines because they saw him getting even extra work with Debo. So he's not just working with defensive backs. He's saying, hey, there's an all-pro receiver here as well. Let me get this work. Let me find some new things. We haven't got to play together yet. I haven't got to pick his brain. Fred, I feel like you were that type of player as well.
I got to pick your brain. Like, I want to know.
But he picked your brain about anything.
Yeah,
anything.
No,
anything.
that's
like
what
what
it
you
is.
having for dinner,
what's
kind of coverage
going
you're
on?
playing, how you run that route.
Do you drink Kool-Aid? I want to know these things. Like, I remember with Michael Westbrook, because he was a big receivers, and I could really play with the big receivers, but I used to pull him over to the side before and after practice so he could box me out. I could get used to being boxed out. Then I go get the smaller receiver. Now I want you to play me in space so I can make sure that I'm low and coming out of my breaks the right way. Like, the one thing about a player, to be the best player you can be, you got to be honest with yourself first about your flaws and your insecurities, and say, you know what, I can't worry about them. I got to make them better, and I got guys on my team that can sharpen this knife and make me better.
Always great to get out on that field with y'all fellas. Now, let's take a look at some of our newest defensive back additions. I think this is a room that a lot of fans are looking at. We have Will Harris. We got him from the Saints. Jonathan Jones bringing that Super Bowl experience. And then Trey Amos, our second-round pick that we're very, very excited to get into. So you know what? Let's dive into all of these position groups because we've all been out of practice. It's time for Securing the W, presented by Hercules Fitz. Security in every job. Fred, since we were just talking defensive backs, I'm going to start with you because you're the defensive back in the room. What have you seen from them guys out on that field so far that gets you excited about this season?
Let's start with some of the new arrivals. Start with Will Harris. He's a guy that can basically play everywhere. He can play free safety. He can play strong safety. He can go down and fill in as a nickel, a big nickel, a small nickel. It doesn't matter. His versatility brings a lot to the table. And if you watch this guy tackle, he's a better tackler than people think he is. And then when you go to Jonathan Jones, you said it at the top of the telecast. At the end of the day, he's a Super Bowl champion who's been down that road, who can help Michael Steele, who can help the younger guys on the team become the player that they want to. Then you bring in a Trey Amos, very long corner, great ball skills, and you add him to a Michael Steele. You add him to a healthy Marshawn Lattimore, and now you got a defensive backfield that can play with anybody in the National Football League right now. Now the question is, how fast do they bond and become one? Because that's the one thing about being a defensive back. Until y'all playing as a group, you cannot maximize one person in this group. It's not an individual position. It's a position that has to be played as a group, and once they learn how to play as a group, they got a chance to be a dangerous group of guys back there.
I think the cool thing is you brought in a bunch of guys that have really high floors. I think that's the really exciting part. As a coach, right, you're always like, man, I don't want to be as weak as the weakest, the lowest common denominator, right? And I think about last year, we were watching games, it's like, oh man, this guy's got to play a lot. This guy's in, we're a little bit nervous. I think you've got guys that maybe are not the highest ceiling prospects of all time, but they got really high floors, and they give you the flexibility defensively that Joe Witt's been looking for,
and
right?
think about it, we had Noah Igbinoghene playing a lot of snaps last year.
Yes.
Now he's not, he's right there at the floor.
There to compete. Another person to compete.
He has to compete. So they tell you what happened in that room.
Yeah.
And iron sharpens irons, right? That competition is going to bring out the best in all of them.
need it.
And speaking of competition, Logan, I think something that really stood out to you when we would be out in practice is the offensive line play. Like Fred said, those guys that smell like bacon. What stood out to you? Because there is a lot of versatility on that offensive line.
Yeah, a lot of versatility. I think the thing is, like, this is not really a great period or time of year for them. But I think the thing that stuck out to me is they're able to maximize this time frame, right? And so what I mean by that is they're able to get a ton of reps, work different patterns, work different groups, and build different relationships. There were some, like Larry wasn't here for some OTAs. Brandon Coleman is able to get some reps. Connerly is able to get some reps. They're able to take some of those reps that the veteran would have gotten, and again, work with different people. And on the offensive line, that communication is so important. So I love the fact that they're kind of maximizing this time to build that communication, build those relationships. Because like Tana always said last year, one of the major things that made us nervous about this group was the lack of depth. And now you look out there and you see a bunch of guys that have played a lot of football that, again, raise the floor of that group and put you in a good spot.
And Tana, you said something very interesting on last week's live field pass about how a strong offensive line affected you as a receiver. Can you elaborate on that a little bit and explain why, when you're a receiver, you know that offensive line good, you feel like you're going to have a good day?
Well, when you don't have a strong offensive line, the quarterback can't get the ball out to you. There was plenty of times where I didn't go up against the best defensive back. I went up against some of the better defensive linemen, and if my offensive line couldn't protect our quarterback, the ball that's out of his hand, you got to go elsewhere. So that's why it's very, when you see us having, that depth, not only that depth, is having those key guys like Tunsil and, the young kid, Connery Jr., right? Having those guys knowing that they're going to be our edge blockers, our guys that's going to be protecting Jaden's blind side and his front side. That lets you know, man, now we're making sure that we can have more guys out there in their routes and we can go out there and rest assured that Jaden's going to get the ball to him.
And I think that's the thing that gets me probably the most excited about the offensive lineman and what it does for the passing game, right? Because it allows you to get deeper route concepts, longer developing ideas, more eligibles in the route. And I think about how creative that offense was last year, but also how limited they were. You know what I'm saying? And now the whole thing is open because you got 5 dudes who can pass protect and win one-on-one pass protection reps at a high level.
Do you feel like I feel that the offensive line is a boy band and they have to all be on the same?
Bar band?
A boy band.
I got it.
Boy band. I ain't know that. And they have to be in sync, all right? They have to be in sync with each other and in unison with each other. And that's what you see the best offensive line. They work together, so it's almost like a dance move, like the 4 tops. They're going to have to all be on point together.
And another group is going to have to be on point. I did like that, Fred. That was great, man. You cleaned it up a little bit. Another group that we want to see on point is the wide receivers, right? Some big names over there. What have you seen when you've seen this wide receiver group? Because some new names there, a lot of exciting faces.
I think what stands out to me is just hearing about these guys last year, while we were saying we need so much. We want different body type. We want more competitive guys out there. And then now you go fast forward to this year, you got guys who we didn't expect much from last year. Noah Brown showed up big last year, for us. And then now he's back. We bring a Noah Brown back. Not only bring Noah Brown back, you get a guy like Gallup who was over there with the Cowboys a couple of years ago, and he was a threat. And now, so we can get that same kind of, I guess you can say, play from a guy like that. That just raised. You talking about raising the floor? That raised the competition level in the room totally, because you got other guys that say, hey, I want a part of that. So we big on talking about, we have this guy in that's come from San Fran and Debo Samuels, and we have Terry, who we hopefully probably see back in the room. But I'm talking about all those other guys. And not only that, what Ingram has done to that room. You have a coach, a wide receiver coach that's played at a high level and that has been coaching these guys, talking about development players. He's going to be, he plays an integral part in those guys' success. So I'm just looking forward to seeing these guys flourish a little more because now we have more bodies in there that's going to raise the floor and the ceiling.
McCaffrey and Lane. You got McCaffrey and Lane, too.
Exactly.
But the thing is, like, does it really matter? Because Jane Daniels is throwing a football.
I'm saying it doesn't
that's
matter.
the thing for me.
That's what we talk about all the time.
One of those games where he would throw to 9 different receivers, so you know he's going to connect with them. And we're all excited about these additions. But one guy I don't think we can talk about enough, especially Fred, is a guy like Trey Amos. Let's take a look at his stats from his all-SEC year last year at Ole Miss. 50 total tackles, 13 pass deflections, and 3 interceptions. This kid gets it done in a multitude of ways, but that is what Joe Wood Jr. and this defense covet, versatility. I got to catch up with Trey Amos on this week's Raising Hell with the Rookies and talked all about his versatility and where he's most comfortable on the field. It's time for Raising Hell with the Rookies, presented by Intuit for Education. Tackling financial literacy together. And I think, too, what's exciting is your versatility. Like, all these rookies that they picked up, they've played multiple positions in their life, and they can play multiple positions. When people look at you, they want to know, Outside or inside, man, do you have a preference? What do you feel more comfortable at?
I like it all, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like playing man, zone, regardless, you know. You got to learn how to do all of it, so you got to keep on getting better at everything and just being smooth.
Yeah, and you get to enter a secondary room that's top 5 in the NFL against the pass.
Mm-hmm.
What can you add to a secondary that's already booming, man? What kind of things can you add to that room?
I feel like, you know, I love to compete, and I feel like everybody, you know, will build off of that. And just showing that and just being a great teammate and, you know, just showing, you know, different sides of me. Just want everybody to get better, you know. You got to bring everybody with you. So just being a team player.
Always great catching up with our rookies. I know we're all excited to see Amos out on that field. Now, it's almost preseason, ladies and gentlemen, so let's take a look at our winning numbers presented by the Maryland Lottery. Please play responsibly. Now, here's a look at our 2025 preseason schedule. Week 1, we'll be out in New England taking on the Patriots August 8th at 7:30 p.m. Then week 2, we'll be back at the crib for the first time in the preseason. That'll be August 18th taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. That's Monday Night Football at Northwest Stadium. Then August 23rd, the Baltimore Ravens, we will take them on at home at noon. Now, I know we're all excited to see our Commanders on the field. And somebody I'm really excited to see is Zach Ertz. He decided to run it back with the Commanders, and we caught up with him on his second media day in the Burgundy and Gold. Let's check it out.
Commanders family here with our tight end, Zach Ertz. Now, Zach, this is your second media day in the Burgundy and Gold. How you feeling?
I feel great. Obviously, not as many surprises, new things this year, so I would say I'm much more comfortable going into this thing. It's also exciting times. You know, we're our last thing of the off season before we all head our separate ways for a few weeks before training camp. So training camp's coming, football season's coming, so it's an exciting time.
For a guy like you, we talked to a lot of young guys, so this is their second media day.
Yeah.
Does this ever get old for you, the fact that you've done this so many times?
At the end of the day, it's all part of the thing, all part of the deal, and you never want to lose kind of the excitement around putting the jersey on again, seeing your name on the back again, seeing your number that you worn forever. So there are things that you'll never take for granted and always have that excitement about. And then there's other things that, you know, let's just speed through this one.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to do
appreciate
this
it,
one.
yeah.
We ain't gonna take too long of your time. Now you come back. You decided to come back and bring here, man.
Yeah.
What was the emphasis for you on this offseason as you head into year 2 with the Commanders?
Yeah, it's really just the comfort level with all the guys, Jaden in particular. You know, how can we take the next step as a receiver, tight end, and quarterback relationship? How can I be a better leader for this team? How can I try and play 17 games again? You know, there's a lot of going in to try and make my body at its best when the time is needed. So I spent this offseason really trying to lay down that foundation and be able to take those hits during the year. And so it's all part of a process. It's not like you just show up in September 4th or whenever the first game is and be ready to go. It's all 365 days I think about at this point in my career because I've done it so many times. And so for me, it's just laying that foundation, getting the communication, the trust better with Jaden, and being a better leader.
And when you've done so much, it's crazy to think about, like, getting better.
Yeah.
But you keep that mindset where I can get better every time.
Yeah.
What were you focused on this offseason? What was one thing that you said, you know what, I really want to focus on this here because it's going to help me find that success coming into the season?
Yeah, I think a guy like me and going into my 13th year, you know, for me it's all about trying to be as explosive as fast as I possibly can. People say, you know, maybe my prime is behind me, but I don't view it that way. I still view it as I'm still in my prime. And so for me, it's just being able to go out there and be as explosive, create as much separation as I possibly can. And if I can do those things, I feel like I'll be able to do what I need to do for Jay.
Young man in his prime. We're here with Zach Ertz, his second media day in the Burgundy and Gold. Appreciate your time, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great to have the big guy back in the fold. And what a season he had. His first season with the Burgundy and Gold. 66 receptions for Zach Ertz, 654 receiving yards, averaging over 9 yards a game, and earned 7 touchdowns. Man, what a big season for Zach Ertz. And you know what? I think it's time to bust out some highlights on our future Hall of Famer. Now it's time for Top 5 presented by UA Local 5 Plumbers, protecting the health of the nation's capital since 1890. Now, since we're showing Zach Ertz some love, let's look at some of his best 5 plays from last season, his first season with the Commanders. This first one is taking on Atlanta.
Dude, 37-yard catch. I didn't know he had this in the tank still, man.
Yeah, he still got it. Still got that.
How old was he? 34, man? They got a little bit of juice here. Breaking some tackles.
Man, you see that?
Love to see that.
Years?
Dude, look at that. Physicality. Love to see that from our
This was
guys.
his biggest gain of the year. Now, let's go back a little bit to week 2, taking on the New York Giants. We love seeing folks beat up on the Giants.
Dude,
This was a
you know what I
close
like this
catch
catch?
right
I like this catch because he makes the DB look
I'm
bad.
gonna say this is a defensive offensive catch right here.
Yeah.
This is the way to save your quarterback
Yeah.
right here. Like the best receivers in the game, they catch bad balls, and this wasn't JD Vine's best ball.
Yeah.
But way to come down
I saw
with
this live, and I just knew that ball was intercepted.
Yeah.
So, great catch by Zach.
Now let's take it out to Detroit. This was right after Jello Ball did his performance. I knew we were going to have some big plays.
we was gonna win.
He's going to win right after that.
Whoa! I knew it right there. Right here, great catch
Just
by
a great
him.
clutch
I know, but it's the
touchdown,
route, man.
Yeah, it's the route.
Winning versus man-to-man coverage, man. Love this about his game. And they can go to him. Red zone, third down, it's all there for him.
Yes, sir. And then next, we got another Atlanta one. This one set up overtime. This touchdown right here got us into overtime, and we made some big plays after that. Look at Zach Ertz, boy.
The red zone belongs to him.
Yeah.
That's where he does damage at. That's where he's hard. He can get just that much of separation, and he can catch the ball.
You talking about being a safety net? He was just that, man.
And that's exactly what he was. And he was a safety net for us when we needed to win the game in overtime against Atlanta right here. We've all seen this play 100 times. Possibly my favorite play from the season right here, man. This is just a clutch
It's probably
grab.
his best play from the year, man.
Yeah.
The route, I mean, everyone talks about the catch, but the route was
route, yeah,
excellent. The
separation.
situation was excellent, man. No moment's too big for him.
A big game. That's what you want. Big game players, and he was dead all year long.
And speaking of big game, Fred, I'm glad you said that, bro. Because in here, you talk a big game about your golf swing. You're good at everything. Smooth DeChambeau. Well, remember, B-Mitch went and gave some game to the special teams. Y'all remember that, right?
Yeah.
Well, B-Mitch is going to give us some game on how to perfect our golf swing. I've purposely never played golf, but he taught Fred a thing or two. Let's check it out.
Not really.
It's time for Best Seat in the House, presented by SeatGeek. The most disruptive idea in ticketing, a ticket that works. Expect the expected. SeatGeek.
Commanders family, we're out here at the golf club at Lansdowne Resort. I'm here with future Hall of Famer Brian Mitchell. And B, you spent your time giving game to the special teams on the Washington Commanders.
Yeah.
Well, brother, I've never golfed before. I don't even own a pair of clubs. I'm left-handed, so I can't even club. But Fred, Tanner, and Logan, they want to learn some tips from the master. Because not only were you one of the best to ever do it on special teams, you're one of the best golfers in Northern Virginia. That's what I heard.
Well, I think it'll be easy to try to teach Tanner and Logan.
Yeah.
Fred, I'm worried about. Because Fred knows everything.
Fred swear he's the man.
But if he hits a shot, we're going to hear it for the rest of our lives. And if he doesn't hit anything, he's going to start complaining about he didn't have time.
Or he's just going to tell a different story.
He'll probably be late, too, to be honest with you.
Well, let's see how things go. I got a feeling he's right about Fred being late.
All right, let's
All right,
see what we can do with this thing, man. God.
Damn, dude.
You. That wasn't bad, man.
Where'd I go?
In the grass.
If it's in the grass, I'll take a grass.
We'll just get you next time to aim a little bit over here, then we can get it right in there.
All right, perfect.
Keep your eye on the ball. There you go. Low. Hey, baby. We using that ball.
Yeah, don't count that first one.
That's
don't
the
count
ball
that
we
divot.
using.
Soft, right?
Just hit right in the middle, dead center. Bam.
Boom!
That's a ball, baby.
Boom!
What up, dude? How you hitting? Are we on the GoPro? How you doing?
Keep it here.
Keep it hit. Oh, don't never turn it.
Don't turn that.
Damn.
That's it right there, Tanner.
Yes!
He is
Hey.
here. He is here.
He hit it.
He is here.
I'm trying not to, dog. I'm trying not to, dog. It be the after effects. He looking, he know that ain't going nowhere. Let's stop looking.
To do it, slide this way a little bit. Now hit it.
In front of the ball like this?
Just do what I told you to do. Oh, man, look at that.
Look at that. I'm in the matrix right now. I don't even see grass. I just see numbers.
Get in there.
That's it! That's it! Put me in the game, Joe. Oh, they talking about.
Attaboy.
Command Center is finished. We're out here at Lansdowne Resort with B. Mitch. He's teaching the special teams, and he's teaching our commanders. For Brian Colbert Jr., Brian Mitchell, Logan Paulson, Smoot DeChambeau, and Santana Moss, we out this thing. We'll see y'all next week.